That Friday night, I walked through the door expecting nothing more than a quiet dinner and maybe a movie before bed. Instead, I found Gloria in the bedroom, both closets open, yanking clothes into 2 large suitcases. She didn't even look up. "What's going on?" I asked. Without missing a beat, she zipped one bag halfway shut. "I'm leaving tonight. Don't try to stop me." It was so blunt, so smooth. It was like she'd been rehearsing it. "Leaving for where?" I asked. "I'll stay with a friend until I figure things out." Her eyes stayed fixed on the suitcase. "Harvey, I need more from life than this." "This?" I gestured around the room. "What's wrong with this? This house. This routine. You. I can't keep living like this." She sounded like she was reading from a script she'd already decided on. "Then let's talk about it," I said. "We could do counseling." "No." She cut me off. "I'm done." I stood there for a few seconds, letting the silence stretch. She clearly expected me to rush in, plead with her, promise change. Instead, I just said, "Okay." That made her pause. She froze mid-fold and looked at me for the first time. "Okay. That's all you've got to say? You've made up your mind, Gloria. What am I supposed to fight for if you've already decided it's over?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Fine. Don't say I didn't give you a chance." She slammed the zippers shut, grabbed the bags, and brushed past me without another word. I watched her car roll down the driveway. As soon as the taillights disappeared, I picked up my phone. "David, it's Harvey," I said when my lawyer answered. Gloria just walked out. What do I need to do to protect myself? Within minutes, I had a checklist: cancel her access to my cards, change the locks, and make a record of everything she left behind. By midnight, her cards were cut off. By the next morning, a locksmith was on the way. If she thought I was going to sit around waiting for her to decide whether I was worth keeping, she was mistaken. Truth is, I wasn't blindsided. For the last 8 months, I'd watched her become a stranger. When we first married, she worked full-time at a marketing firm, came home laughing about office gossip, and actually enjoyed our low-key weekends. Then, suddenly, she quit, said she wanted less stress, and took a part-time job at a boutique. The rest of her time vanished into Instagram, TikTok, and endless group chats with her single friends. At first, it was little comments about how exciting their lives looked. Then came comparisons, nicer apartments, better vacations, more freedom. Soon, she was out late more often. First happy hours, then girls' nights that ended after sunrise. I'd wake up to an empty bed and a text saying, "Don't wait up. One night, I saw a name light up her phone, Victor. I remembered him from years back, a co-worker she'd been a little too close to. When I asked, she rolled her eyes. "It's just Victor. We're catching up. You're being paranoid." "Paranoid because my wife is talking late at night with an old co-worker." I asked. "You're controlling, Harvey. It's not attractive." That ended the conversation. After that, I paid more attention. The laughs she once saved for me were showing up in her messages to others. Her phone was always face down. By the time I found her packing, I already knew what it meant. She'd been planning her exit for months, maybe warming up to someone else along the way. What she didn't know was that I wasn't going to chase someone who'd already walked out. By Saturday morning, cracks in her plans started showing. Around 9, my phone lit up with her name. I let it ring twice before answering. "What did you do?" she snapped. "Good morning to you, too." "My cards aren't working. I tried to get gas and it got declined, in front of everyone." "Those cards are in my name. You were just an authorized user. I removed you. You can't just cut me off from money." "Actually, I can. You told me you were moving out. You told me not to stop you. I'm respecting that." A pause. Then her voice softened just a bit. "Harvey, I never said I wanted a divorce. I just needed space. Space doesn't involve packing suitcases and leaving. That's called moving out. This is ridiculous. I still have rights as your wife." "To what? You left on your own." She hung up. 10 minutes later, Sophie, one of her closest friends, called. "Harvey, we need to talk about Gloria." Do we? She's hurt. She feels like you're punishing her. She told me she was done. I'm taking her at her word. She just needs time to think. You should meet with her. Talk things through. Like you told her to, see what else is out there. I interrupted. Silence. Sophie, I know you've been in her ear for months. You thought she was wasting her life being married. Well, now she's free. You got what you wanted. That's not fair. What's not fair is convincing my wife to leave, then acting shocked when I don't chase her. I hung up. By noon, it hit me. Gloria had expected me to be desperate, scrambling to win her back. Instead, I was calm, methodical, and she clearly didn't know how to handle it. The next Wednesday night, the doorbell rang 3 times, followed by heavy knocking. I looked out the window. There was Gloria on the porch, hair pulled back, wearing the same jacket she'd left in. Harvey, open up. We need to talk, she called. I stayed put. She pulled out her purse, tried her old key, twist, twist, it didn't fit. She threw up her hands and pounded harder. That's when my neighbor, John, wandered over. Everything okay here? He asked, glancing from her to me. John, tell him to open the door, she said quickly. He locked me out of my own house. John frowned. Didn't you tell me Saturday that you were finally free and starting a new chapter? Her face flushed. I was venting. That's not what I meant. That's exactly what you said, John replied. You even joked about finding someone more exciting. She shot me a look, like this was somehow my fault. That was taken out of context. I stepped outside, but toward John, not her. Thanks for checking, man. We're fine. She moved to block me. Harvey, please. I made a mistake. Let's just talk. There's nothing to talk about. You told me not to stop you. You got what you wanted. Her voice cracked slightly. I didn't know it would be like this. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you left. John shifted awkwardly. I'll let you two sort this out. I went back inside and locked the door. She stayed another 5 minutes before leaving. By the weekend, she'd shifted tactics, going to my family. Saturday morning, my mother called. Harvey, I just got off the phone with Gloria. I sighed. What did she want? She said you locked her out, cancelled her cards, and refused to see her. Is that? Sure, here's your passage rewritten fully in different words while keeping the events, tone, and meaning intact. Yes, Mom, she moved out. That was her decision, I said. My mother's voice stayed calm on the phone. Then she has to live with it. I told her I'm not getting in the middle. An hour later, my sister Elaine sent me a text. Gloria just called me crying. I told her to stop. I almost laughed. Gloria wasn't used to being shut down that fast. That afternoon, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Gloria stood there beside her older brother, Martin, who already looked uneasy. Harvey, he started, we just want to talk. Gloria knows she overreacted. I leaned against the doorframe. Overreacted? She packed her things and told half the neighborhood she was happier without me. That's not overreacting, Martin, that's making a decision. Gloria shifted from foot to foot. Victor wasn't what I thought. I realize now I made a mistake. I nodded slowly. So, you left thinking someone else would be better. And when that didn't work out, you came back. That's not fair, she said quickly. What's not fair? I replied. Is you walking away without even trying to fix what we had, then expecting me to just reset everything when it suits you. Martin lifted his hands in a gesture of peace. Look, I'm just here to help her talk. She's my sister. I understand, and I respect that, I said. But the answer is still no. Gloria's eyes hardened. So that's it? 3 years gone. No, Gloria, I said. You ended it the night you walked out. I'm just honoring your choice. Martin sighed, and they both turned to leave. She didn't look back. A month passed without a word from her, and I assumed she had accepted it was over. Then, one Tuesday, my lawyer David called. Gloria's attorney had reached out with a proposal, marriage counseling instead of pushing ahead with the divorce. David explained the idea came from her parents, who wanted her to either reconcile with me or stand on her own 2 feet. From the details he gave, it was obvious this wasn't about love or regret. She'd been bouncing between friends' couches and her parents' house, working odd shifts at the boutique, and struggling to maintain the lifestyle she'd once enjoyed. The house was never part of the negotiations. It had been mine before the marriage, and the deed was solely in my name. She left with only what she could fit into her suitcases. Everything else stayed, exactly as it was. It was clear she was reaching for the safety net she had voluntarily abandoned, a home she no longer had a right to. David advised me to stand firm unless I had a strong reason to change my mind. I didn't. There was nothing left to reconsider. Later that week, I received a single text from her. "We could fix this if you just talk to me." I didn't reply. David filed the final paperwork. I didn't feel happy or vengeful, just certain. When you've been with someone for years, it's easy to focus on the good times and wonder if you could get them back by rewinding far enough. But I couldn't unhear her telling me she was done. I couldn't unsee the look in her eyes when she told me not to stop her. That wasn't a slip in the heat of the moment, it was a deliberate choice. And choices have consequences. 3 months later, the divorce was final. No dramatic courtroom scene, no last-minute pleas, just signatures, a stamp, and it was over. Elaine later told me Gloria had moved back in with her parents in a small town 2 hours away. She'd quit the boutique because she couldn't afford the gas to get there, and taken a full-time job at a call center. After the papers were signed, she sent me one last text. "I hope one day you understand I didn't mean to hurt you." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. The house felt different now, quieter, steadier. I no longer came home wondering if I'd walk into another argument or hear about another late night out. A month later, I met Rachel, a 32-year-old nurse who owns her condo and pays her own bills. We started with coffee, then dinner, and I realized how refreshing it was to be with someone who didn't treat a relationship like a game of leverage. When I mentioned Gloria briefly, Rachel shook her head. "Sounds like she wanted you as a backup plan while she explored other options." "That's exactly what it was," I said. I thought back to the night Gloria left, standing over open suitcases, delivering her exit line like it was rehearsed. She'd expected me to panic and promise anything to keep her. But I'd already spent months fighting for the marriage by being loyal and steady. She gave up in a single evening. Best lesson I ever learned. When someone says they are leaving, believe them. Don't chase. Don't beg. Let them go. Because if they truly valued what they had, they wouldn't be walking away in the first place. If you'd like, I can also rewrite it into a sharper, more condensed version so it feels like a tight short story rather than a conversational recount. That would make it hit even harder.